5 minutes. And here we go. Last Wednesday of February. Hi there. Welcome, everybody, to Cast Iron Wednesday. This, of course, is a long running tradition that a number of YouTube channels have been doing for at least the past several years. We do a cast iron video on Wednesday because, well, that gives us an excuse to make some YouTube content. It gives us an excuse to play with cast iron, and it also gives us an excuse to have some fun. Okay, good. Oh, for a second, it already looked like it was locking up, but no, things seem okay. All right, but yes, welcome very much, everybody, to my kitchen, where we've been doing this now for about the past 3.5 years, and somehow I've survived it. But nonetheless, I do this really every Wednesday because it's a lot of fun. I mean, I'm not sure how many times I've said that because it is certainly true. I very much enjoy doing these live videos here, despite all the craziness that happens, largely because of the folks who have been kind enough to show up here every week for Cast Iron Wednesday. There are a lot of regulars who show up now, including a number of names that I know, and a lot of names, and some names occasionally who do show up for the first time. So once again, thank you so much, and hello to everybody who's been kind enough to show up here tonight. Hello to Cynthia Wesley and Rocket Caver, William Hurt, Jimmy Langford, and hello, Doady Man. I still can't pronounce that, and I know I've seen you before. Hello, Rums. We are here for chaos. Chances are you'll probably see some chaos as usual. And Beth Button and RT Scott, and hello to Celine and Pat Z, and everybody here who's been kind enough to show up here on a regular basis. But again, if this is your first time here on this channel tonight, well, thank you very much for showing up. I mean, it's, again, as I said, it's folks like you make this so much fun here. And having said that, well, what can we say? Let's get started here because, after all, time is counting down. After all, we only have like about almost 3 weeks until St. Patrick's Day, the day, of course, where a lot of us make corned beef and cabbage, at least here in the United States, we do. And really, for at least the past 10 years or so, I have been absolutely hooked on making my own homemade corned beef. Number one, it is wonderful. I mean, when you spice it yourself and you brine it yourself, I mean, it really kicks butt over those over the store stuff you buy at the store, especially since with prices going up with just about everything, that stuff now is getting so expensive. It's going to cost like maybe about $20 or so, but we're talking like a 2 to 3 pound um, package of corned beef from the supermarket. Although, yes, it is true, it is almost always going to go on sale at a huge discount come around St. Patrick's Day, and so you may indeed still be able to pick up your own corned beef at the store. And home and store-bought corned beef is good, yes, but when you do it yourself, it is so much better, and that's one reason why I'm doing it this early here. Um, Number one, because it gives me plenty of time to brine or corn my corned beef brisket and have it ready for St. Patrick's Day. And number two, this is one thing I'm trying to push on everybody. All of you folks here, if you've seen this before, I keep saying this every time. Please try this yourself because once you do, you will not regret it. This is not a hard process to make your own homemade corned beef. All we're going to be doing tonight, and in fact, I should start heating up the cast iron pan, in fact, and I'm only going to be heating it on low as well. But yes, all we're really going to be doing is toasting up some spices and then boiling it in a pot to produce a brine. After which point, then we're going to cool it off with ice and then put everything in a nice big bag and leave it there in the fridge for about 2 to 3 weeks. And it's really as simple as that. If you have done a brine on your Thanksgiving turkey, this is exactly the same process. And in fact, do believe brining, corned beef brine started much earlier than when people started brining their Thanksgiving turkey. So yeah, I really am encouraging everybody to give it a try. Just take the time to get the spices together and try it yourself because it's fun and it's easy and you will love the results. Okay, and yeah, exactly. Hello, Frank Marullo. Question: if I put a brand new log skillet in an e-tank, would that take it to the bare metal and get rid of the sandpaper feel? It would not get rid of the sandpaper feel because that is, in fact, the iron itself with the rough surface that a log skillet has these days. And the best way to take care of that, I would say, is to season it up and start using it. I have never been a fan of grinding down a cast iron skillet unless you feel you have to. I have a number of modern day lodge skillets that indeed have that so-called rough surface, and they have worked just fine. I cook with them just fine, and I don't have any problem at all with them. They're also actually a lot smoother than you would find with typical Asian-made skillets, like Walmart's Ozark Trail brand. So I am very much in the boat and saying that with a modern day lodge skillet, yes, you can certainly strip it down to the bare metal and season it, but I would rather say you just go ahead and cook with it. Okay, and there's a comment here. Close that out. Okay, and Deep Hell Pal, I've cured my own bacon and pancetta, but I haven't cured corned beef. Well, again, that's why I can only say give it a try here. And yes, hello to Pat Z. And Anthony, my new lodge pieces are not a problem with sticking. Love them. Yeah, there are many examples of cooking in a modern day lodge cast iron pan and not getting sticking. Well, if you're saying I'm looking thinner tonight, well, thank you very much. I'm doing my best. That's about all I can say. Lodge does not seem as rough as it used to be. Yeah, there might be that too. Maybe because, they really upgraded their manufacturing process over the past decade or so. Okay, but now that I've said all that about corned beef, how about we get started here? I have right now a cast iron pan. Good grief, sorry. I have a cast iron pan that has been heating up, that I've only just started heating up. And so, but here's the part where we get to play with cast iron tonight. Yay. Let me center this. There we go. That's pretty good. In fact, I can probably even bring it lower so you can get a somewhat better view of it. And for the record, and I had better break out a pot holder for this just to be safe. What we are looking at here, in fact, is a 12-inch skillet. In fact, a 12 and a half inch skillet. This is a 1970s series Birmingham Stove and Range Century Series number 10 size cast iron skillet here. So this thing is a real monster. And you don't even need one that this big. I just happen to be doing it because I'm kind of overdoing it as usual. Because I'm making a whole lot of corned beef, and essentially I'm going to be taking my recipe for corned beef spices and tripling it. Just because I can, and because, as I said, I tend to go overboard on this corned beef thing. But having said that, let's, okay, it's time to start putting the spices together. Again, I do have the recipe on my website, and as you can see, I just have to go through a series here. And we're going to start off with, and since I'm tripling this, we're going to be doing 3 tablespoons each of whole. We're going to start with whole allspice berries. Here it is. And I got this one, in fact, just last year at the the Indian market. So they call it kebab chini, aka all spices. So here's a start. Ugh. All right. 1, 2. Oh, yeah, getting fresh spices. I can smell it already. Nice. 3. And allspice definitely has an interesting scent to it as well. All right, number 2. I am. It seems like every year I am out of juniper berries and I have to skip them. I may even just take that one out of the recipe completely. However, from here we go on to whole mustard seeds, and I know I have mustard seeds. Here they are, whole mustard seeds. Okay, and in fact, this is another brand new container of mustard seeds. Yeah, because I only got these recently. Okay, there we go. In fact, I will admit this comes from Wally World. Okay, so since I'm tripling it, that means instead of 1 tablespoon, we're doing 3 tablespoons. And in fact, this thing is so big, I'm going to have to do it this way. Carefully, of course. All right. 1, 2, and 3. In fact, I'm even going to turn off the heat just until I get all these spices in the pan because I don't want them to burn. I mean, that's the thing, of course, with toasting spices that you just have to be careful. So now from here, we go on to whole coriander seeds. And once again, I'm doing 3. These coriander seeds came from the Indian market, which means, again, when I go to that place, it's like they have no concept of what a small container is. So we got 1, 2, 3. Again, these are coriander seeds. Yeah, that's another thing. I very much encourage, if there is a foreign market in your area, I really encourage you to go and give it a try. Even just go in and browse. You're always likely to find something weird at a foreign market, and that's where a lot of the fun comes from. Now comes fennel seeds. Oh, yeah. All of these things really have their own unique aroma. I can't even describe them, but if you know what fennel is, then you know what it is. 1, 2, and 3. All right, after the fennel, now comes red pepper flakes. This is one spice that a lot of people do have, red pepper flakes. Yeah, and this is a common brand too. Usually you can find it in the so-called international section of the supermarket, unless, again, you're lucky enough to have a foreign market in your area. And again, 3 tablespoons. 1, 2, and 3. A tiny, tiny bit more. Okay. We are already more than halfway through this list of spices here. Next comes whole cloves. And cloves, I shouldn't say really a love for cloves, but cloves I have an affection for because of my New England heritage. A lot of our recipes, such as our famous Boston baked beans, use cloves, except that having trouble getting the lid off this stupid thing. And I better be careful because I do not want these things to spill all over the place. Oh, when have I ever done that before? Well, you did say you came here to see chaos. I think we might be about to see it. Come on. There we go. Well, at least we definitely have a tight lid. And this again is, like everything else, 3 tablespoons. All right. Cloves, which have their own very strong aroma. 2 and 3. And the reason why we're toasting this is just that, to really increase their potency. It's the Maillard effect. The same reason why we brown meat. That is why we toast our spices, because it does the same thing. It effectively sears them and gives them really brings out the flavor. All right, now we've got whole black peppercorns, of which I always try to keep a lot of because I'm always going through that. 3 tablespoons of peppercorns. 1, 2, 3. Also, as you can see, this is not an exact science here. You don't have to measure this with a scale. Furthermore, you can mix and match the spices to your taste. All right, now this one is one that I've always had to go out of my way for these things. And in fact, I just had to get a new one of these tonight. Black cardamom pods. And I better dig out my scissors or something and open this up. Which I know I have here somewhere. There it is. Okay. And it mentions 9 whole cardamom pods. Well, in that case, I'm just going to, since we're supposed to do about triple that. There we go. That's probably more than enough, especially since cardamom, again, is a very strong spice. I love green cardamom. Okay, and we're just about done here. Now we just have to throw in some bay leaves and a piece of ginger root. Bay leaves, here we are. We don't even have to peel the ginger because, again, we're not going to be eating it directly. Yeah, that's the other thing about that foreign market. These are some of the biggest bay leaves I think I have ever seen. So even though it says 6, I'm probably not going to need that many. And finally, one more, and that should probably be enough. As you can see, I'm kind of eyeballing it because, again, this is not an exact science here. The whole point of this is simply, well, to preserve and flavor the meat. Although the preservative is going to come later. The preservative, of course, is our infamous Prague powder. The pink curing salt, which I will come back to in a little bit. But let's turn that heat back on. And now we get to start toasting our spices. Is that all of them? Oh, wait, no, I forgot the ginger. Also, 2 sticks of cinnamon as well. Okay, so I'm not quite done. So we got to throw in a couple of sticks of cinnamon. And again, since this is supposed to be a triple amount, but I don't know if I'm going to do all that. Especially since here are our cinnamon sticks. Yeah, there we go. All right. Oh, man, can I ever smell that? Once again, it's really nice having fresh spices. And finally, go into the fridge here. Dig out our ginger. Ugh, don't want to trip over everything. The ginger mentions about a 3-inch piece of ginger root, thinly sliced. So I think at this point, we have to temporarily turn the view away from the cast iron because I've got myself a piece of ginger here. And that means I can get out a knife. Got a nice big knob of it here. This should be more than enough, I would think. The rest of it I will put away. Since it mentions thinly sliced, let's do this nice and fast. As I've said before, I am not one of those guys who can cut who can slice with a knife like the way you hear a machine gun. But this is certainly more than enough, I would think. There we go. Let me wipe this off. Did it again. Now, knife goes back. And back to the cast iron. Was it last? There we go. In goes the ginger. And with that, now we got to start stirring. Because what we do now, of course, is, well, among other things, we have to dry out that ginger because that's fresh ginger. But we're just going to keep stirring it until we start hearing the spices. Oh, some of it got away already. Until we start hearing the spices snap, crackle, and pop. That's when we know that we're at the point where we can take this out and get it ready for use. So yeah, this is not exactly exciting, but it is a necessary step. And in the end, you will thank yourself if you do this. You know, you don't even have to do this for the record. You could just put the spices together and just use them as is. Put them in a little cheesecloth bag, and you don't even have to toast them. But toasting them will help so much more. Oh man, and besides, I can smell it from here. Wow. Smell all those things, including these cinnamon sticks. This certainly does make it worth it. And while we're waiting here, a small fortune in spices on that skillet. Yeah, I know. To be honest, I think all of those spices probably cost, well, maybe about, oh, I don't know, $20. So, yeah, that's the nice thing about going to that Indian market in my excuse me, that Indian market in my area. Because again, there's spices. Oh boy, because I better even turn this down a little bit. I don't want to burn them. I can see we're getting smoke already because those spices here are not, I did not get these at Wally World. Well, except for the mustard seeds, I did. But the rest of these, I do realize that if you went to someplace like Wally World and got a number of these spices, they would be ridiculously expensive, especially in the McCormick so-called organic spices section. I have been boycotting McCormick ever since they slapped that stupid organic label on them a few years ago because there's really no need. And even if you don't have a excuse me, a foreign market in your area, these days there are still places like, say, Aldi, Ocean State Job Lot. Both of those have a pretty good spice section. Unfortunately, Dollar General and Dollar Tree these days are practically worthless for really fancy spices. You can get basic spice combinations now at Dollar Tree, so-called Italian seasoning, chicken seasoning, Cajun seasoning, and it'll work okay. But if you want to do something esoteric, like for instance, spices for corned beef, yeah, you will have to go on a little bit of a hunt. I can only hope that there is something in your area where you may be able to get a lot of these. Or you can order them online. Just about everything you can order online these days, including spices. Jimmy Langford, yes, we can go to the store and get pickling spice, save some time, and the same thing. Yes, exactly. Pickling spice is common, but it's not likely that you're going to find corned beef spice. Although I suppose if you just use pickling spice in your corned beef, you'd pretty much get the same thing. Oof. I will not deny that. I'm probably doing it the hard way, in fact. That's only because I love doing the corned beef. I have a personal reason for doing corned beef as well, one that I have never talked about on the internet and probably never will. Suffice to say, it's a personal reason that even though it involves March 17th, it actually doesn't involve St. Patrick's Day. But for personal reasons, I always celebrate on St. Patrick's Day. Hence the corned beef. Hello, Dorothy Clay Gardner. Evening, all. I don't have the coin skillet yet, but I have the recent release heart skillet. Well, congratulations on that. You've got a nice heirloom there. Even though I suppose Lodge is probably going to be releasing that pan every year for, well, at least several years, if not for the rest of eternity. You definitely have yourself a little, as I said, you've got yourself a little heirloom there. Because it is definitely something that you can use to show off to guests. Not to mention making heart-shaped brownies. So congratulations on getting the heart pan. Yeah, I succumbed to temptation and I had to get one too. It's not like I needed another cast iron skillet or something. And yeah, yay for online shopping. Exactly, Anthony. I need all the luck I can get. Don't we all? Luck of the Irish or anything else? I mean, after all, there's a reason why the leprechauns keep their gold in a cast iron cauldron. They're crock of gold. All right. Boy, I could definitely smell these things. I'm hearing an occasional pop at this point, but I've not gotten to the point yet where these things are doing the snap, crackle, and pop. I'm hoping in about another few minutes or so we will have that done. But anyway, yeah, the aroma of this is definitely filling my home too. which is another reason why I've got to keep stirring this, because I don't want to burn these things. I only want to toast them. And before anybody asks about the smoke detector, as I like to say, no, I have not taken down the smoke detector, because if I admitted to something like that on YouTube, there is a possibility a few years down the line somehow I could get in trouble for it. So I will always say that no, I have not taken down my smoke detector. Besides, some weeks I haven't. You've heard it go off. Could you cook corned beef in a lamb mold? Oh, I'm sure I could. And anyway, when I'm done here, I'm going to have enough corned beef that maybe I will be able to cook it in a lamb mold. Oh, there's going to be enough corned beef for my St. Patrick's Day, and as well as I can do St. Patrick's Day for my close friends. So yeah, that is also something I am looking forward to, sharing that. Also, on top of everything else, yeah, this aroma from the spices is really getting to me. As I said, I'm just waiting for it to hear the snap, crackle, pop, which is not happening yet, other than the occasional pop at the moment. So I'm just going to keep going until we get to that right point. But what I'm saying is, the other thing about store-bought corned beef, they might have even cut out the spice packet. But you know how store-bought corned beef usually comes with this tiny little microscopic spice packet. This thing that's maybe about half the size of a tea bag, full of these incredibly tiny little seeds. And you're supposed to pour that over the corned beef when you cook it. And that works okay. But there's no reason why you couldn't put your own spices together like we're doing here and use that to help cook your store-bought corned beef. Why not? Spice it up. Use the spices that you want, especially since the spices that come with the store-bought corned beef are almost always very basic spices, so to speak. There'll probably be a few peppercorns, probably some coriander. And I'm trying to think, in fact, if they use anything else, because they certainly don't use things like cinnamon or cardamom in their corn in those spice packets. I can pretty much guarantee that. Oh, probably mustard seeds too. The popping is starting to get a little more frequent, so we are starting to get close. In fact, I think we might even be at that point. Let me see. I'm going to try to bring my microphone down so that I hope you can hear this. Oh, yeah, we're ready. We're definitely at that point. In fact, you can even see a couple of these things popping if you look closely. I'm hoping you can hear this. As you can see, I've got my microphone right up against it. But it is indeed snapping, crackling, and popping. So let me put the microphone back and turn off the heat because we are ready. Yeah, I know. Isn't this exciting? Oh, we actually saw a seed jump. But actually, that is part of the fun. Yes. Did I get this microphone on right? Hold on. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, exactly. There we go. And boy, like I said, that aroma is definitely getting to me. Okay. It's time to break out my glove. All right, and now let's move over here for now. I think I may need a bigger bowl. Give me 1 second, please. All right. That's better. Okay. Oh, damn it. I'm sorry. There we go. There we go. And here are our spices for the corned beef. Now that we've done that, one other thing we need to do. We put the spices over here. Yeah, I could feel the heat through this metal bowl too. And I've got another container. And to this, we're going to scoop out maybe about 1/3. Excuse me. Oh, yeah, this is getting to me, isn't it? Anyway, we're going to scoop out maybe about 1/3 of those spices and put them aside. Oh, yeah, there's definitely a little smoke coming from these things too. A couple more of the ginger, a couple of the cinnamon sticks. There we go. Because this, we're going to put in the fridge. And here we go. These are the spices we're going to use to cook our homemade corned beef. Since it doesn't come with a spice packet, we're just going to make our own. All right. So voila, corned beef spices. All right. Vapors. Yes, that's a good word for it. That's for sure. Yes, on the Reubens. The day after corned beef and cabbage, I like to make Reuben sandwiches. Reubens are a good time anytime. That's for sure. And Hog Wildcaster, you won an auction for a 10.25-inch stargazer. Well, congratulations on that. I hope you have better luck with your stargazer than you had with your smithy. That's for sure. Definitely. Okay, yeah, best spice packet ever. You remember cooking corned beef and you had the spices in a plastic bag. Yes, I did that too. And there's no reason why you couldn't use a Ziploc bag. I just happen to have this thing handy in this case. So, all right. But now that we've done that, we don't have all night here. Furthermore, I've got to get this aroma out of my nose. Okay, now that we've done that, it's time to start with the brine. Okay, that means we need to. Oh, good grief! I did forget one thing. I forgot to break out the kosher salt. However, that means we get to, for now at least, say goodnight to the Century cookware skillet and move over and say hello to another one that I've been using a lot lately, the Wagner Dutch oven. There we go. And I don't need this yet, which means it's time to get ourselves something to measure it with. Got to do about 1 gallon of water, which is 4 quarts. All right. Ugh, come on, you know what? Got this. This. Ugh. Oh man, always something. Ugh, there we go. Okay. Ugh, I'm sorry. The cord keeps catching on this thing, on this camera. Ugh, there we go. Anyway, nice and exciting. Now let's get about 1 gallon of water here. Okay. We made mushroom ketchup this past weekend. How old is that Dutch oven? This particular Dutch oven here is a Wagner Magnolite. And actually, it's not as old as you might think. I'm thinking, because of the Magnolite logo, it's probably from about the 1960s to the 1980s. Because during that time, their Magnolite series actually was shaped so that it would look like vintage. Almost there. Need to cook 1/4 of a cow. I have the oval roaster for that. Oh, yes. Yeah. I do believe I've seen your video on that as well. Yeah, I'm still coughing from that. Shit. You were talking about the Griswold oval roaster that you managed to score, and congratulations on that. There we go. It's just about right. All right. So we have this up. And from here, I need to dig out the kosher salt because even though I dug out the spices, I forgot to dig out the kosher salt. My bad. Fortunately, I seem to have no shortage of kosher salt here. So, to this, and best of all, this is not really going to boil over, so I'm not too worried about that. 1 gallon of water, 2 cups of kosher salt coming up. In this case, we are using good old Morton's kosher salt. One of these days, as tempted as I am to just tear the lid off this box, I'm not going to do that. Well, maybe I should. I know. Okay. All right, let's slide pour spout. Yeah. Never mind that. Let's just do it the hard way. I'll just have to put this into a container. There we go. All right, take 2. Much better. Here is 1 cup of kosher salt. And 2 cups coming up. Well, just a tad more. There we go. All right, now that we've done that, we also need to do about a half cup of brown sugar. And then comes the interesting part. All right, brown sugar is also over here. Of course, I use my brown sugar a lot, so have to be sure I have enough of that handy. Brown sugar. Half a cup. Dig out my half cup. There we go. Don't want to plop. Okay. That was nice and easy. And now that we have done that, let's use the same spoon and let's stir it around a little bit, so that we can help it dissolve in the water here. The little specks you're seeing this is the same spoon I used to scoop out those spices. So these are from those spices, which is fine because they'll be going in here. However, now it's time for the controversial ingredient. And anybody who does this knows exactly what the controversial ingredient is. Here comes the Prague powder. Nitrates. This scary stuff that they warn will give you cancer and all of that. But especially because of all of that, I'm not going to be using very much. In this big pot here, I am going to be doing about 4 teaspoons of curing salt, and that's it. That's because that's all I need. And here's 1, 2. Come on. 3. And 4. I actually had to order this stuff online. I could not find any of this curing salt locally here in the Binghamton area. When I was living in Massachusetts, it's still my throat. Anyway, when I was living in Massachusetts, there was actually a place in Cambridge, Massachusetts, where I could buy saltpeter. And that was about the only place in the entire state of Massachusetts where I could find that. That was in Cambridge, Massachusetts, of all things. And the reason why saltpeter is so hard to find, it is not illegal. However, stores, especially pharmacy chains like CVS, will not stock saltpeter only because it is a known ingredient in gunpowder. And so those places do not want to be held liable if someone makes gunpowder and ends up blowing up a limb or blowing themselves to bits or something like that. So saltpeter is very hard to find unless you order it online, and you can order it legally. And likewise, I think that must be the reason why they don't stock curing salt in many places. Pat Z, when I first started making sausages, the recipe called for pink salt, so I got some Himalayan salt. Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, that that is absolutely true. Himalayan pink salt is not curing salt because it doesn't have the essential chemicals in it. And I don't have that memorized what the chemicals are in the curing salt, but nonetheless, Himalayan pink, pink salt is nothing more than a fancy table salt. That's it. That's why you can eat it. That's why you can pour it on your food. You cannot put curing salt on your food like that. I mean, yes, it is used for curing things like meats, but only by in a roundabout process, such as in a brine, like we are doing here. And in fact, I think I'd better cover this so that I can bring it to a boil. Oh, wait a second, I can't do that yet because we haven't done the essential part yet, namely the spices. So, I mean, now that we've done all these spices, let's put them in. There we go. This is a pretty intense brine, in fact. It's going to be like a concentrated brine. But actually, that's also the reason why I also have 5 pounds of ice. It's still in the fridge right now. And when this thing comes to a boil, I'm going to actually take out the ice and then pour this over the ice so that it'll dilute it and put it into a lot more water. And that is going to be my brine so that I can use it to brine 17 pounds of corned beef. Yeah, I kind of overdid it, I guess. Nonetheless, there we go. Okay. Me allergic to nitrates and nitrites. Corey Clark, I made a big batch of sauerkraut. Should be ready in 5 weeks. That sounds pretty good. Curing salt is super fine, dissolves quickly. No two recipes for mushroom ketchup are alike. Oh, mushroom ketchup, that sounds nice. Make everything from scratch. Well, I don't make everything from scratch. I like making things from scratch because it's fun. It gives me something to do, and it helps fill the content. Oh, that's hot now. Fill the content on my YouTube channel. But I don't mind store bought ingredients. I mean, heck, when I made that beef and Guinness pie a couple of weeks ago, I used store bought puff pastry, for instance. But yes, I do enjoy making things from scratch here, and I don't have a problem with it. There's a bacon without those chemicals. Yes, it is true because because the whole point of curing salt and curing beef and curing meat and all that is to preserve it. It comes from the days before refrigeration, when it's like you had to be able to preserve meat in order to keep it safe to eat for a long time. And that meant either huge freezers or you cure it. And that is really one of the big reasons for spices. I mean, the original reason for spices are twofold. Number one, they are a preservative meant to keep food from spoiling. And number two, they are a taste enhancer to make your food tasty and also to cover up bad taste in case the food has spoiled. So, excuse me. But yes, um, so curing salt these days, of course, in these days of refrigeration, technically is not needed. What curing salt does do, of course, is that is what gives the pink color to your corned beef. If you don't add your curing salt to the brine, then you will have gray corned beef. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Gray corned beef will still taste as good as corned beef made with the curing salt. In fact, now, of course, because because so many people are telling us to be afraid of chemicals, there are a lot of places like Trader Joe's and Whole Paycheck Market who regularly sell gray uncured corned beef. Uncured bacon too. And again, if that's what people want to get, then more power to them. I'll say that as well about store bought ingredients. If you want to make something with store bought ingredients, then again, more power to you. It should still turn out tasting good. Even though I do indeed love making things from scratch, I am not one of those purists who's going to say, oh, you used a store bought pie crust. That's not a real pie. You're not really baking. No, I'm not going to do that. I mean, there's a reason why they have those pre-made things in the store. Number one is convenience, of course, because it helps save a lot of time there. How do you feed celery chemicals? Well, I guess you probably put it in the fertilizer for one. There is no bacon without nitrates or nitrites. There's celery. They just substitute celery powder that's been fed a huge amount of nitrates. Okay. My German grandpa used to make sauerkraut. It was better than anything you could buy from the store. Yes, exactly. Some things aren't supposed to be healthy. Well, yeah, that is certainly true. And that, of course, is a rabbit hole that is far too easy to go down. I've already given my opinion of the so called health food nuts and the organic crap and all that. And that, of course, is my opinion. And I will gladly state my opinion. I will not, again, go out of my way to shame people who do that stuff. I mean, despite the fact that I am not crazy about vegan recipes or the like, I'm not going to go out of my way to insult vegans or vegetarians, as long as they don't insult me. That is, because of the fact that I like things like store-bought cheap hot dogs and the like. So, yeah, that is. How many of you guys still use the old Crocs? If you're talking about like non-cast iron, well, I don't know how many. Those pie crusts are so good. I'm sorry. God, this thing really is sticking in the back of my throat or something. I think I may actually have to open up something to drink, and I very much apologize for that. So, in fact, hey, get this. I'm gonna drink some chemicals right now. My favorite kind of Pepsi Zero. You know, the kind that has aspartame in it, the stuff that's supposed to rot my insides and all that. So let me show myself on video here, poisoning myself with my favorite kind of Pepsi. That's better. Yeah, I think those spices, something must have actually gotten to the back of my throat from those things, and I'm sorry for the coughing. Anyway, back to business. If we weren't supposed to eat them, then we wouldn't find it so delicious. Well, there is that. Open a window. Considering that there is pouring rain and wind going on outside, I really don't have that much of an option, I'm sorry to say. FDA won't allow bacon to be sold without nitrates. Uncured is the biggest scam over. Well, yeah, I know. You can go back and forth over that. The thing is, of course, in moderation, nitrates are really not that bad. But that is where the debate goes, and I'm not going to spend all this time talking about that kind of debate. So, and hello, Rich Qualls, watching from Southern California, the home of Proposition 35, where Disneyland can give you cancer. Okay. All right. Meanwhile, going after all that, Those pie crusts are good. Yes, they are. My German grandpa. No, we said that part already. I'm just checking the comments right now here. No two recipes of mushroom. Yeah, pink salt is critical for safe curing and delicious taste. Yes, it even exceeds the lamb mold for yumminess. Yeah. Okay, getting back to it. Celery has more nitrates than bacon. I love celery for that matter. If it's bad for me, give me double. Oh yeah, we can we can definitely go down that road, but fortunately, I'm not going to. I'm just waiting for this thing to boil. And actually, that's a good point. Um, excuse me. Oh, this is getting annoying. Okay, that is one good point because what I have to do next, as I said, is I'm going to prepare some ice. So that means we will get to move away and go back to the sink again, where I've got another big bowl. And let me get this bag of ice out of the fridge right now. And I should prepare this now. Oh, wait a second. Guess what? It's oh, what now? It's boiling. Yes, indeed. It's definitely boiling, all right. In fact, it's boiling over. Okay, I didn't expect that so fast. Let me pull that out right now. Fortunately, that's just water. There we go. Fortunately, that's just water, and that shouldn't cause any trouble at all. Let's just put this over here. Anyway, we have brought it to a boil, so now I can turn it off. All right, back to the business. As I said, got some ice here. Unfortunately, this is just one. Oh, that helped. I was going to say, this is one big solid block of ice. Now it's two big solid blocks of ice. Ugh. And let me dig out those scissors once again. Where the heck did I just put those scissors? Oh, they're over here. Okay. Oh, that didn't help at all. Yeah. Try again. Oh, there it goes. Got it now. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I get. That's what I get from getting my ice at the gas station. Okay. All right. Now that we have done this, I should try to break this up a little bit. And fortunately, that gives an excuse to pull out another treasure. I've shown this off a couple of times, but not as often as I would like. This is one of my flea market finds that I'm quite proud of. Combination tool patent, August 5th, 1926. It is definitely solid steel, not cast iron. And I found this, in fact, at a flea market for $4. I found it because I went looking for a tent stake hammer for going camping, and I found this thing instead. In fact, my understanding is this thing is actually like a horseshoe tool, I believe. But it makes a wonderful hammer, that's for sure, which is also good for breaking up ice. Like that. I'm going to give you a better view here, folks. There we go. There we go. It's a little better. All right, now that we've done that damage, now let's do what we came here to do. And in fact, let me see. I know you want a good view of this. There we go. That's not so bad. Time to dig out the other glove. And we get to mix the spices in with this extra ice. All right, careful. There we go. And voila. And with that, we will have our brine. In fact, don't want to waste these spices. But there we go. That is the hard part. But we do have a few more fun parts to go yet. Because at the moment, the brine is sitting there in the sink. However, the beef itself is still sitting in the fridge. Hello, Jay Barber. Got my large cast iron skillet. Did purchase corned beef brisket, but will discard seasoning packet and use one mixed one instead. Good. I'm very glad to hear that because I think you will enjoy it. That's why I'm trying to push this on everybody, not just to make you do it, but because you'll enjoy it. It's fun, and I think your corned beef will taste better when you do that. So thank you very much. Okay, Hog Wild. Buddy just picked up a favorite piqua breadstick pan for me. Wow, congratulations. You really got yourself some scores going on lately. So yeah, congratulations. And Patricia Parsons, love corned beef and cabbage. Oh yeah, that's one reason why I'm going through all this, because I really enjoy making corned beef. When I want juniper berries, I go out back and pick some. Well, you're luckier than I, Terry Sinchef, that's for sure. How is everyone? We're doing pretty good, Miss. Excuse me, Mr. Majors. Other than the fact that I'm coughing myself to death here, it seems like the vapors from toasting all these spices here seems to have gone into my lungs or something. But what we are looking at right now is, in fact, again, brine. Oh, good. The ice is working too. I'm not, this water does not feel like it's boiling anymore. What we're looking here at is the brine that we're going to be brining our corned beef with. Or correction, we're currently brining our brisket. We don't have corned beef yet. We will have corned beef when it is done brining. So that means time once again to take you folks on a roller coaster ride. I know you just love that. And get back here again, which means now I've got a mess to clean up again. That would be this and that. Measuring cups. This is for the scissors, mouse from the laptop, the the little hammer. There we go. Measuring cup, cinnamon sticks. Okay, finally. Now that we've done that, excuse me again, there we go. Isn't it great doing this on next to no budget? Okay, you can distill your own gin. Get some more Pepsi. Don't worry about choking. Yeah, you got a point there. Let me take another swig of Pepsi here. It has not caused my throat to swell or anything. I am not having any kind of an allergic reaction, I promise. But that Pepsi definitely helps, yes. Okay. All right, now that we've done that, it's time to get out to the next step. Hello, Mr. Majors, Patricia and Mercy, how are you? Pretty good. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, because the next step is the part where, yeah, I do tend to go overboard with this. Oh boy, let's get this thing out. Here we go. And flop. There we go. Now I get to slap my meat on camera. Oh yeah, I love making that joke, but here it is. Can you cure beef in a lamb mold? Well, this is a little big to put into a lamb mold, I would say, because yeah, here we are. we have got ourselves here a 17-pound beef brisket. We've got the flat and the point, and the fat cap and all of that fun stuff. And when I do this, I don't cut off the fat cap. I just simply cut the whole thing up and just let it go as is. I brine everything, including the fat. So yeah, I do traditional corned beef and cabbage last year and smoked another. It was fun watching my wife eat both. She's a purist, but she really liked the smoked one. I don't doubt it. Smoking will improve just about everything. So okay. But yeah, like I said, I tend to go overboard when doing this corned beef stuff, I would say. Fortunately, that means it's an excuse to play with a toy that I don't get to play with very often. And I head to my knife rack and pull out and cough while I'm doing it. This is a treasure that I am very proud of. And what this is a 12-inch, no less, Sabatier French-made chef knife. Yeah, this is like a one-in-a-lifetime score that I made when I went to New York City for my 50th birthday. So I found this in the Bowery. If anybody has been to New York City, then you know what the Bowery is. That is a row of keep doing that. That is a row of restaurant supply stores there where you used to be able to find just about anything in the world for managing food. And although, unfortunately, prices are driving just about everything away in New York City, the Bowery, at least 6 years ago, was still an impressive place to look. One of the stores in the Bowery had whole shelves full of knives and kitchenware and all that, but behind the counter they actually had this. Again, this was a 12-inch chef knife, and not only that, it has the 4-star elephant logo. It's a little worn though, as you can see. So this was not a brand new knife, but yeah, this is in fact a 4-star Sabatier chef knife. So especially since it was like a 50th birthday present, yeah, I admit I splurged. Okay, yeah, wow. Well, that's a knife. Hey, yes, exactly. I don't like the hunk of steel at the hilt. Yeah, it has to be ground away to allow sharpening. Yeah, the what do they call this? The bolster, I think. Well, it's debatable to everybody. And besides, since I've been using my 10-inch Sabatier for the past 12 years, I'm actually pretty used to it. But nonetheless, I mean, and really, all I'm doing is I'm just going to be making this probably into like about 5 pound. Well, actually, since this is 17 pounds, we're probably going to be doing a couple of 6 pounds and a 5 pound. I think, yeah, I think that's right. In fact, I'm just going to have to estimate it. So that means we're going to have to start here, right about here. Oh, yeah, and away we go. And I love a sharp knife. Man, that was so satisfying. There we go. And voila. Oh, yeah. One more quick slice. And check this out, folks. Yeah, I am quite happy with that. So here is one nice big hunk of point of, with plenty of fat in it, no less. Now we will take the next one and just simply slice this in half. And that should be enough for 3 nice big servings of corned beef. Oh, yeah. And this is why, again, I love a sharp knife. I can just cut through the whole packaging and everything. And it is so easy to do. There we go. So here's 2. And here's 3. And the reason why I cut this up, well, first of all, of course, is so that the brine can get into the meat, but also so that it can fit in the container. And that's the reason why I did that. How do you go about sharpening your blades? Well, as a matter of fact, number one, I do in fact have to take these things to a professional sharpener. I have been trying for years to sharpen my blades with a whetstone, and I've had very little luck. So most of the time, what I do, once I rinse this off, that is, most of the time, I simply use a honing rod, and that keeps my blades reasonably sharp. But I definitely do have to have this thing professionally sharpened. Although, as you can see, this still does a pretty good job nonetheless. Let me wipe off this excess, this little gristle that got onto the blade here. I've got to go over here. There we go. All right. Get that out of the way. And then the knife will go away because knives can be dangerous. So I don't want this thing just lying about. So this goes back onto the knife rack. Okay. All right. But, oh, and by the way, are you cooking that in a cast iron cauldron? As a matter of fact, I'm going to be. Yes. Come St. Patrick's Day, I'm going to dig out my number 12 size Birmingham stove and range Dutch oven for that. Okay, but yeah. Oh, and by the way, I know we're already more than an hour into this, but then again, I have been taking my time here. I've been talking to all you folks and doing all of this at a very slow pace. If you were to do this yourself, you would probably have this at this point in maybe one half to two-thirds of the time that I've taken here. So I fully acknowledge that I am not going very fast, and that is intentional. So hope you don't mind that, folks. But we're getting close to the end of it now, because now that I've cut these things up, I have to move them to the side for the moment. 1, 2, and 3, and wipe off the counter a little bit, because finally it's time to start the brine. And that means just simply take out a big container. And now I definitely need to raise this up. Great. What did I do now? Something broke and I don't know what it is. Oh, well. Come on. Anyway, take 2. There we go. Okay. Now this is a nice, simple plastic tub. This is like, oh, I don't know, maybe about a 6-gallon, I think, tub that I got at Family Dollar, maybe about 2 or 3 years ago. And this is great for brining my Thanksgiving turkey. That's primarily what I use. I use it for the Thanksgiving turkey and for my corned beef, which is exactly what we're doing. And in fact, I know I took it out. Oh, here it is. Yay for getting an extra package of turkey bags last Thanksgiving when they were available. So that means we simply get to break out a big brining bag. So yeah, as I said, brining your own corned beef is exactly, and I mean exactly, like brining your Thanksgiving turkey, because I do the exact same thing here with my turkey. I prepare the brine. Excuse me. Although I do use different spices for my turkey brine, yes. There we go. Got it. And then just stick it in here. This thing does not fit over the entire cover, but that's all right. And there we go. Okay, now it's time to start putting in the beef. Here's 1. And I can throw this out. Here is 2. And this is one reason why I cut it up, so that it would fit into this bag and this container. And here is 3. There we go. After all, if this thing can take a 20-pound turkey, it can certainly take a 17-pound hunk of beef brisket. That's for sure. All right, and now comes possibly the riskiest part, the part where the chaos comes in. And what part am I talking about? Pouring the brine into the bag without spilling it all over the place. That's what I'm talking about. Let's see what we can do. Let me try to adjust this, move this over a little bit. Okay, dull knives are more dangerous than sharp ones. Absolutely, Mr. Majors. That's a fact you could share with your SIG in case you need an excuse to buy another knife. Yes, exactly. I have no argument whatsoever with that. And I have seen it and I have felt it. I have yeah, everybody cuts themselves on their knives, and fortunately I have not done anything really, really bad to myself. But yes, I will definitely say that a sharp knife is much better, easier to control than a dull knife. And I will very, very much encourage anybody at all to use a sharp knife. It is safer. Teach your kids that. Teach yourselves that. Work with your kids and learn how to handle sharp knives because it is good. It is good to know how to use a sharp knife for that reason, because it's better than a dull knife. I will absolutely agree with Mr. Majors on that one. Okay, use a cup, then pour the rest in. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. And I think that's exactly what I did last year. You're right. Let me dig out a nice big ladle, shall we? Okay. Oh, yeah. In fact, you know what I have? At some point or another, I got myself this nice big soup ladle. How about that? But I like your idea of using a cup, actually. Okay, so then that's easy enough. I've got a nice big plastic, a nice plastic cup. Came from Dollar General or something like that. And there's no reason at all why we can't do that. So yes, I like your plan. All right. All right. One last thing, one more delay. Let me move this stuff out of the way, this stuff behind here, and put the brine right over here so that there's less chance of spilling it. Okay, so move this over here. Gotta lift this very carefully, because no, I'm not going to trip and spill this all over the place. I would never do something like that. There we go. But we got it. Okay, now, like you said, let's start scooping. Stop talking and start scooping. And away we go. You're absolutely right. It's much easier and safer to just add the brine to the bag this way. No need trying to be fancy. I mean, I know there are those YouTube cooking channels that do really stupid stuff, including mine. However, I like to think my stupid stuff has occurred by accident. There we go. Just keep scooping. No, just keep pouring. Just keep pouring. So yeah, furthermore, notice as well how it turned out. I boiled 1 gallon of the brine, added it to a 5-gallon container of ice, and that produced enough brine for all of this corned beef. Now that we've done that, I think we can safely start pouring. Yet here we go, folks. Now comes the fun part, right? Well, guess what? It works. And we did it. Let me just scoop out the rest of this. Didn't even need that big ladle. Thanks to your advice, folks, we managed to do this without a disaster. So thank you so much. And yeah, I can see that there's a big hunk of beef still sitting on the top here. Let's see if we can rearrange this carefully. Okay. This. That's one reason why I'm using this big container here, in case the bag breaks. But with any luck, that's not going to happen. There we go. All right, a little bit more, and look at that. I do believe we have it. That means let's twist this up. I don't have twist ties. I always forget the stupid twist ties. So just work slowly and patiently, because we got it. There we go. Up and around. Looks like I'm just going to have to adjust this every other day or so. Usually I just leave this in the brine as is for about 2 weeks, or maybe I should have even added a little bit more water to this. You know, before I get this thing too tight, I wonder if I can undo it. All right, here's the part. Here's the question: am I going to ruin it by trying to undo it? You know, I might actually just do that. Just have to be patient. Come on. You know what? I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to have to manage it and maybe adjust it a little bit more, because I probably should have added a little bit more. Yeah, the knot works. Yes, exactly. The knot works better. Stuff a towel at one end to compress the bag. Well, yeah, actually, I could do that. Yeah, if I just do something on this end, that would actually work. Oh, gee, what do I happen to have here but this little container of chicken broth? If I were to stick this on the inside, maybe even stick it on its side. All right, gotta try not to pop this. There we go. That looks pretty good. What do you think, folks? Leave it alone. Yes, exactly. Put a big rock on top of it, or a towel. Okay, you want to submerge it all the way. Well, there is that. That's the part that worries me. Maybe I've made a mistake and I probably should have added a little bit more. But actually, if you look at it on this end, when I raise it up like this, it is pretty much submerged. All right, so here's the question. Maybe I will make one more attempt to untie the bag carefully. I'm not going to do this forever, folks. All right, yeah, exactly. The knot works. I think the knot works a little better than I expected, in fact, because I'm having difficulty untying this knot. Well, that's telling me something that, I probably shouldn't tempt fate. Put some heavy plates on it. Okay. Yeah, exactly. If I press it down, I think we're good. All right. Okay. Let me see. What can I dig out that might actually work? Well, I suppose one thing might be the lid, which, oh, here it is. Here's the lid. All right. Well, the lid certainly fits, that's for sure. Put a number 5 cast iron skillet on it. Okay. Yeah, maybe if I press it down this way, I think there might be less risk of puncturing the bag. So that if I were to put something heavy on top of this, then that might very well work. Twist the end and undoing it. You can move it around occasionally. Yeah, that's probably what I'm going to end up doing. I'm betting if I just literally shake it around like this, that's probably all we need to do. So, steal a paving rock from your neighbor. Any number of possibilities. Okay. On the whole, though, I'm actually not worried. This is going to work. I mean, there is really not going to be any major problem with this because, as you can see, I pretty much do have it all practically anyway submerged. Oh yeah, in fact, if I push it against this way, we're good. So I should probably just stick something else here on the side. All right. I'm trying to think very quickly here because, again, I don't want to waste everybody's time. I mean, we're almost done for the evening. I promise you that. All right. In fact, I should probably even work on this maybe and then show you the results rather than just spend time. I'll come up with a good solution to this because, yeah, it does look like. In fact, let me turn it around this way. If I just push it to the side, I think we are good. So if I just simply put something else inside here and fill this space, then again, we will be good to go. Okay, put the cutting board on top. Slide a skillet down there. Well, I don't want to waste a skillet. Okay, somebody suggested the cutting board. That might not be a bad plan. Here's the cutting board, except that the cutting board is a little big, I'm afraid. All right, we'll work it. We'll work it out. Okay, you know what? As I said, I'm going to call it for now, just because, again, I don't want to waste everybody's time. But nonetheless, okay, you expect chaos. Guess what? It looks like we've got a little bit of chaos. I've got a little problem to solve here. But I'm going to work on it because despite all that, we're done. All I have to do is put this thing in the fridge. And after all, what we did accomplish tonight? We did make our brine. We took all those spices, we toasted them. I started hacking all over the place. We boiled the brine, and then we mixed it in ice, and we cut up a huge 17-pound brisket. So you know what that means? It means that come St. Patrick's Day, we're gonna have a whole bunch of corned beef. So there you go. There's enough there that I can easily have some for for my St. Patrick's Day. As I said, I'm going to give another bunch to the family of a friend of mine for St. Patrick's Day, and we're going to have a third one yet. Which, well, gee, maybe I might just have to try making pastrami with it. Okay. Just fill the tub with water. That'll make the air in the bag lift. Yeah, hey, that's not a bad idea at all. Although on the other hand, there is a little hole in this. But actually, I kind of like your water idea. Maybe I'll try that right now, and then we're gonna call it a night. Okay. So that means I'll have to move this back to the sink. All right. Let's get back over here. Back. I don't even trust myself. I'm not. Let's do it this way. It's going to be so heavy. Yes, it is going to be heavy. That's the part that does worry me. I agree there. Still, put this on and give it a try because that's not a bad idea. And this is not taking long to fill up either. Oh man, in fact, it's watertight. I could even. There we go. All right. Okay, let's see if that helps. That is probably about as far as I'm going to go. On the other hand, there is the idea as well of putting something on the top side as well. But we've got it. Yes, exactly. Okay. Yeah, lift the bag at the same time. Excuse me. Here we go again. Boy, it's going to take all night to recover from this, isn't it? Well, on the other hand, as I said, this is not a major disaster. This is going to work. I promise. I'm not worried. I'm really not worried. I'm not just saying that because in the end, we're going to have ourselves a lot of corned beef. Okay. Put that bag into another turkey bag. Then add more water to the new brine bag. Yeah, that's also possible. All right. I'm okay. I'm gonna work on this, and as I said, I will continue, and I will show you the results because again, I'm not gonna spend all night on this because I don't want to bore you folks, and I'm being completely honest about that. But we still did it. I mean, after all, like I said, we prepared a brine, and we've really just again accomplished everything we set out to do because now we're going to have a whole lot of homemade corned beef come St. Patrick's Day, and that's really what I'm looking forward to. So, okay, yeah, and yes, thank you, and thank you as well to Val's Black Cat's Rules. But yeah, I have no doubt the corned beef is going to be great. In fact, the vast amount of this is submerged, so we are definitely going to have a whole lot of brine corned beef. It is going to work. I can promise you that. So I will continue this probably tomorrow, and we'll see what goes from there. But what we have to do now, though, is well head on to bed because it's a Wednesday night, folks. And like it or not, I know I have to get up for work tomorrow. A lot of you folks have to get up for work. And in addition, I've got a doctor's appointment tomorrow. They're doing a follow up on my swollen knee. So, for the record, so far they've given me an ultrasound on my knee. They've done a couple of x rays. And last week, in fact, I got an MRI. So far, they have not found any major symptoms. Even with the MRI, about all they've been able to tell is that it looks like maybe I'm developing arthritis in that knee. There's no sign of, like, say, bone decay, osteoarthritis, or anything like that. Nothing like anything that you might indicate that would be signs of anything serious. So I'm gonna have a follow up appointment at the doctor tomorrow, and we will see how it goes. So that's not looking too bad either. All right, but yeah, and so I do agree, Patricia Parsons. We are going to have to go on and just call this a night. But on the whole, this hasn't been so bad. There haven't been any disasters, so that's a good thing. So thank you, everybody, as always, for showing up. Because, well, I'll say it one last time. I did all this because I want you to do it. I want you folks to try to really kick your corned beef up a notch. You could go all out like I did and make homemade corned beef, and you will not regret it if you do that. Or you could take store-bought corned beef, put your own spices in it, and spice it up that way. And you will still have corned beef like you wouldn't believe. It will be so much better than the stuff at the store. And that's really what I want everybody to try. Why? Because it's your corned beef, and I want you to have fun because it's delicious, because it is really worth doing. And having said that, I think we are indeed going on to say a good night to everybody. So thank you very much as well to Mr. Majors, Val's Black Cat's Rule, and Clico, and Jimmy Langford, and Corey Clark, and everybody, and Patricia Parsons, and VLXX Triple X, and Beth Button, Hog Wild Cast Iron Restoration. Yeah, thank you everybody for stopping by. Next week is the first week of the month, and what I usually do, still coughing, what I usually do on Cast Iron Wednesday, and hopefully my cough will be gone by then, is have a Q&A session. So that means next Wednesday I'm going to get to stand in front of my rack. I get to show off my rack and let you folks throw questions at me, and we will have a fun discussion. And those are fun discussions. So I'm looking forward to it, and we will have a lot of fun, and we'll see you all next week. So thank you everybody very much for showing up. I hope I've done my best to entertain you tonight because, well, as I said, this is a lot of fun for me, and having you folks here really is a great reason why this is so much fun. So thank you so much to everybody, folks. Kimberly Miller just had some ice cream cake from the Dairy Queen for my birthday. Well, congratulations and happy birthday. And you too, to G. Humphrey, and you're welcome. And yes, and Terry Sinchef, I've been taking glucosamine. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. But thank you, everybody. And yeah, okay. Have a good evening now, folks. And we'll close it the way we always do. See you next Wednesday.